The View, please welcome our very special guest co-host, who actually could be the next First Lady of the United States of America, Michelle Obama!
I have to be greeted properly. Fist bump, please.
Oh, yeah. All right. That's right. Okay, that's right. I mean, what does this... I'm sorry, what did that mean? Like, should I be worried about doing that with you?
The thing that...
It's a terrorist attack.
It is now my signature bump, but let me tell you, I'm not that hip. I got this from the young staff. That's how they... That's the new high five.
Yes.
It's the fist bump.
It's the fist bump.
I thought it was for germ freaks, like Howie Mandel on Let's Make Deal or No Deal.
No, they give the elbow.
Should be really happy that it's not like the chest bump. Can you imagine? Ow!
Ow, that hurt.
Come on. I couldn't even lift them up to do it. Listen, we have, as you can imagine, a million questions for you, so let's just jump right in. Barbara, you had the really first question.
Well, I have the first question because it just so happens that on the front page of the New York Times, it says, today's, I'm going to read it from here, and it says, headlines, after attacks, Michelle Obama looks for a new introduction. And it claims that you are co-hosting on The View today to, quote, with an eye towards softening your reputation.
Well,
okay.
What do you think?
So I was going to go through a whole long thing about your service to the country and your background and your family, but instead I'm going to read what they're saying. So in addition to the New York Times, last month's Time magazine had a cover story titled, Will Michelle Obama Hurt Barack in November, which highlighted the quote that's been repeated again and again and again, you know. For the first time in my adult life, I am really proud of my country. So, what is your answer to all of these attacks?
Well, you know, I take them in stride. It's a part of this process. We're not new to politics, but just let me tell you, of course I'm proud of my country. Nowhere but in America could my story be possible? I mean, I'm a girl who grew up...
Give people a little bit of history.
I'm a girl that grew up on the south side of Chicago. My father was a working class guy who worked a shift all his life. And because of his hard work, he sent not just me, but my brother to Princeton.
Who's now the coach.
He's now the coach of Oregon State. Go Beavers. But, you know, I tell people, just imagine the pride that my parents, who didn't go to college, felt. That they could, through their own hard work and sacrifice, have us achieve things that they could never imagine. So I am proud of my country, without a doubt. I think when I talked about it in my speech, what I was talking about was having a pride in the political process. People are just engaged in this election in a way that we haven't seen in a long time, and I think everybody has agreed with that people are focused.
They're coming out.
They're coming out.
Yeah.
But Michelle, why do you think it is? I mean, we hear that the Republicans are going to, you know, attack you and this. What do you think it is that is causing this controversy or these attacks?
Well,
does it just go with the territory?
I think it's a little bit of that. I think, you know, in this media age where the internet is so pervasive and there's 24-hour newscasts, it's sort of like I fill up some space, right? I think that's a part of it. I also think it's competition. That's what politics at some point has become, and I think everybody's a little sick of that. You know, people are kind of tired of the tit for tat and the who did what to who.
They even have us today. I mean, you know, articles are out there today saying that, you know, Michelle Obama, Elizabeth Hasselbeck are going to face off on The View, and fireworks are going to be, there's going to be no fist bumps, just the gloves are on. And I think that it's partly, in fact, that it's women having the discussion. And there are women that may not disagree. They've done it to us for years when we disagree, that we must be enemies because we politically disagree. And I think that that's unfortunate. You know, in a lot of the time, I think they have you in sort of this negative role. You know, they see Barack Obama, Senator, he has been very positive, you know, and then they say Michelle Obama is about more of the problems. How do you guys think that differently, or do you?
No, I mean, we don't, you know, there is so much of this, my role in my campaign, that's me. I think maybe the challenge that I have, to the extent that it's a strength or weakness, is that I wear my heart on my sleeve, just like all of you guys. And at some level, when you put your heart out there, there's a level of passion that you feel, and it's a risk that you take.
Of course.
But one of the things I'm counting on is that people will see through it.
Yeah.
You know, that the more they get to know me, they get to know our family, that it'll become clear who I am and what I care about. So I don't worry about it.
Yes. I wanted to clear up that quote, because one of the things that's happened with that quote is that it has been a very important word, even for me, because I'd never seen the original of the quote. Can we run it right quick? Because I think it has a different feel once you hear it.
For the first time in my adult lifetime, I'm really proud of my country.
For the first time, I'm really proud. This is not the first time you're proud of your country. This is the first time you're really proud. So I just wanted to point that out.
I read that way.
Yeah. Well, we like to see it because.
But what has been reported has never been really. It's always been taken out. This is the first time I'm proud of my country.
Laura Bush actually came out and said that, the media went and ran with that, and it's unfortunate. She knows the spot that you could be in.
You know, I was touched by it. And actually, I sent her a note. It took me a while to write it. It's like, how do I address her?
Like, Dear Laura? Did you write Dear Laura?
I said, Dear Madam First Lady. So I don't want to talk about it because she might not have it yet.
Oh, you must be going through the regular post office.
Sure it is. It'll get there in November.
I would have gotten the delivery notification on that. You get the little receipt back, like, yes, it was received. You got to get that.
But I was touched by it. And that's what I like about Laura Bush. You know, just calm, rational approach to these issues. And, you know, I'm taking some cues. I mean, there's a balance. There's a reason why people like her, is because she doesn't sort of, you know, fuel the fire.
She doesn't. No. But let me ask you something. It's because of what we were just talking about in the quote and how it's getting reinterpreted, et cetera. Do you feel a little bit inhibited now to speak? Do you feel, you know, you got to watch what you say now?
You know, I think in this media age, I have to be cognizant, just like I think all of us do. Well,
we do.
I think Barack might be like a...
Did Barack watch it right now? Did he give you any advice, Michelle? Because he was on the show.
He said, be good.
No pressure. No pressure.
I'm curious now. This is a lot of questions that we have never actually had to talk about before are coming up. And do you think that it is time for the country really to take a lesson from big business and get a little diversity training, because there are some quotes that they've put on you that have, you know, that are meant to stir it up when you say, you know, I was uncomfortable around all this. People don't realize that, you know, folks your age and my age, we were the first of our generation to be thrust in to talk with white folks like real people do. So it could have been very isolating. Is it time? We were it. So
I'm it.
So is it time for us to sort of pay closer attention?
My belief about diversity training and discussions is that they have to happen like this. I mean, the beauty of this show is that it is diverse to start with. What I would always say is you can't have a diversity discussion with me being the only diversity. Diversity comes in perspectives, and then you have conversations, and you know one another outside of the discussion. So you can have a heated argument, you can disagree, you can have a hurt feeling, but you know what? This girl is, you know, she's solid. She's got great kids. She's a great mom. She's funny. So I can disagree with her on a whole range of points. But we can come back together tomorrow.
But everybody thinks you're fighting all the time when you disagree.
Because you're women. And I think that's the main factor.
I want to ask about Hillary Clinton and sexism, if you felt, apropos of this conversation, do you feel there was any sexism in the media?
There is, yes, there's always a level of, people aren't used to strong women.
No.
And I don't think that there are times we don't even know how to talk about them. And so, yes, there was obviously that. There was also, as you know, there were elements of racism that will go on. And I think that Hillary Clinton has, as she said, she's created 18 million cracks on a ceiling, and we need to keep pushing it and pushing it. Because it's only until women like her step out, take the risk, take those hits, and it's painful and it's hurtful, but she's taken them so that my girls, when they come along, they won't have to feel it as badly.
So,
yes.
I don't think I'm going to get an answer to this question, but we'll try. So, do you think that Hillary Clinton should be your husband's running mate?
You know,
Biased audience.
Yeah, I know. You know, my answer to this, and people have asked me this before, I think the one thing that a nominee earns is the right to pick the vice president that they think will best reflect their vision of the country, and I'm just glad I will have nothing to do with it.
Right. You have no say-so whatsoever, and I don't want it.
You don't want to say.
I don't want to say.
Because it is like when you get home at night, when you guys are together, do you completely break from the politics, or you come? I don't know how you even escape from it.
How we do it?
Yeah.
Malia and Sasha Obama. Because they walk in the door and it's like, I don't even care what your day was. Let me tell you about soccer, and this is what happened, and that.
Right.
I mean, they break us from that cycle, and it's a good thing.
So when we come back, we'll talk more about the kids, we'll talk about us, we'll talk about Charles. We just talk about all kinds. Oh, my God! All right.
We'll be right back.
Guest co-host Michelle Obama. Now, I was watching you, Sherry. You was like you was ready to what?
Well, no, you know, because you are setting this trend where everybody wants to go sleeveless. Now, your arms are toned, but your mind are just like blah 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 blah. But it's just like you look gorgeous.
You work out.
Everything that you wear.
Don't you? Do you? I mean, you know, you have to get up every day and think, how does my hair look? What am I wearing? What did
you know, that's the hard part, right? You know, Barack puts on his suit and tie, he's out the door. I'm getting my hair, makeup, the kids, I got to brush their hair. You know, he's always looking like, where are you? Where are you going? But yeah, it takes a, you know, it's fun to look pretty.
You have a flair for it, too, as they compare you to Jackie Kennedy very often.
Well, that's very flattering. But this, I do a little bit of everything. I mean, I have some high-end stuff. I work with a great designer in Chicago, Maria Pinto. But I got this dress at this store that it's all black and white stuff.
Black market.
Oh, yeah.
This is a, you know, this is a dress, and you put a little pin on it, and you got something going on.
I have to say, I'm really glad to see you because, you know, I'm seeing more and more of you on television. I'm thrilled about it on the news because anytime you see black folks on the news, particularly women, they have no teeth. And the teeth that they have gold around them, and they can't put a sentence together. And perhaps now we can... you are helping to change a perception. I know it sounds funny and silly, but if you're a black woman and you're tuning in and every time you see someone who's supposed to represent black women, and women not very, very fair-skinned women, I'm talking about dark black women, I just want to say thanks. You know?
The hot topics, these very serious hot topics that we have talking about the way.
Oh, because you got a stocking issue. I know.
Do you mind if we call you Michelle? I'm afraid. Okay.
Yes.
So we had very serious conversations here. I mean, we discussed peace and war and so forth. But every once in a while. So we've had a big discussion about pantyhose and not pantyhose, and if you don't have pantyhose, you look younger and so forth. So yesterday, I came on the show and I wasn't wearing pantyhose.
It looks great.
Okay, so last night I'm doing the thing at the 92nd Street Y. Before I even sit down, somebody from the audience screams, "No pantyhose!" So today, out of respect for you, I put on pantyhose, and you...
And I didn't. You're not wearing pantyhose.
I can't tell.
I don't have
You're back to the pantyhose.
It's so hip. What we're with do the no pantyhose. It looks, you got great legs.
It feels better. That's what it is. I stopped wearing pantyhose a long time ago because it was painful.
Yeah.
And they'd always rip. And I'm 5'11", so no, I'm tall. Nothing really fit.
And nobody
So I
wants to
put
do
them on, you rip them. It's inconvenient.
Everyone's waiting for varicose veins to come back in style.
That's a cycle I don't know if we'll get that. That's basically,
You have two daughters. You have Sasha, you have Malia, 7 and 9, and they will be the youngest kids since the Kennedys in the White House. You guys get to the White House. Now, how do you, exactly, positive thinking. I heard backstage that your entire schedule revolves around the girls. Because I know I have to fly back to LA every week for Jeffrey, and I told him the other day, if you take that binky out your mouth, presidency could be in the realm.
Tell him it's right there.
It's right there. How do you juggle that?
You know, what Barack and I said when he first started this run was that we would do our best to keep our lives as normal as possible for as long as possible for the girls, and that's really my role. Because you got to have a parent. If you've got two, they want to see one every now and then, and I have the good fortune of being that parent. So as much as people talk about my role on the campaign trail, I'm at home more than I am.
Do you worry though, like when you see, we've been through presidencies in the past, happened to Chelsea Clinton, her, even what they did to the Bush girls. Do you look ahead and think, okay, if this happens, how am I going to start to protect their hearts? It's really protecting their hearts,
For the most part, they left Chelsea and the
But there were, I think toward the end, there were some things that were said, and I think any mom, hearing things about your daughter, you want to protect their hearts more than anything else.
Young. It's more like Caroline and John. They're young children. They'll be all right.
But people ask you about
It has to be on your mind.
Yeah, no, I think about it. I try not to obsess about it because, we got a lot of work before, it's even a reality. But I do, Barack and I think about our girls every single day. It breaks our heart just to know that they're okay, and they have been fabulous. I want to tell a quick story of how Malia, our oldest, who's 10, talks about this. Somebody had asked her, well, do you get nervous when you go in front of crowds? And she said, well, I realize those people aren't here to see me. She said, I'm just a kid. I can do my part. She said, I can recycle, I can pick up the trash, but I can't pass any laws to make anybody do anything. So she said, they just think I'm cute. So I just wave and I smile and then I'm out of there. She keeps us grounded.
So we're going to take a minute, because we got to sell some airtime, and then we'll come right back with even more hot topics and more Michelle Obama. If I have to separate the two of you again, no more hair pulling. Do you hear me, damn it? No more. We're back with our special guest co-host, Michelle Obama. Listen, your husband gave one of the greatest Father's Day speeches ever. And people say it was directed toward black dads. I think it was directed towards fathers who don't take responsibility. Saying more than half of all black children live in single-parent households. Too many fathers are MIA and acting like boys instead of men. Your thought? What'd you think?
Yeah, I think this is part of where we need to talk about what government needs to do and the changes that we need to make in our policies, but we also need to talk about accountability, and not just among fathers, but how we raise our kids, what we do in terms of ensuring that parents are doing what they need to do for education. It just expands the globe of what we need to do, and Barack has always been that kind of politician. I don't even see him as a politician, but he's been somebody that's wanted to talk about both sides of that coin. And fatherhood is a part of that. It wasn't the first time he had given that speech. He's talked about that as a U.S. Senator in the state of Illinois, always pushing, particularly young black men, just to see a different side.
It's connected to unemployment, a lot of it.
Well, it's connected to unemployment, but it's connected to Barack's own experience. I think he's speaking from, and the thing that touches me about that speech is when he says, you know, the greatest gift that he can give is to not be who his father was to his kids. And that, you know, that breaks my... I grew up with a dad. And we were blessed to have a working father in the house and a mom who was right there. And it means a great deal, and we can't take that for granted. And families can look like a whole bunch of things. But kids need those models in their lives, and I think we just have to be honest about the fact that they, you know, that when that's missing, it's not good for the kid.
Speaking of Barack, you know, wanting to be what his father was not, I also read that he comes in for their recitals.
Oh, yes.
Does he do that?
Oh, we just had a recital. I know, Mom's end of the school year. I think I've been to potlucks, recitals. You'll be there. You're still, you know,
not there yet.
You'll have plenty of time.
Look at what she's got, though. Look at how she's...
I know, but that's what you have to do before they get into school. And
well, because we're traveling to Vegas next week, I feel guilty and B, awful about leaving the kids. I've never left Taylor, so I know you must have to deal with leaving the girls, obviously, being on the road. So I made a dinner schedule for Taylor with all of his food to just make myself feel like I'm doing... Look at this.
Make it
This
himself?
is crazy. No.
Who should you leave it for?
Well, I left it because Tim is taking care of Tim, and his mom is coming in, and his father who will be there. Who doesn't even need this. Neither of them need this.
And you know what she's going to do? She's going to, as soon as you leave, she's going to take it and throw it right behind her hand.
Betsy doesn't need this at all.
Do you suffer from obsessive-compulsive disorder?
I wish I did, actually. I think I tried to make myself feel like, okay, because I did this, I'm an okay mom now.
Ask you a dopey question about this. Is this because Taylor shares some of the same food allergies that you have? Is that why it's so extensive like that?
Well, yeah, he's on the food introduction, so you have to go 4 days with every new food.
Introduction?
Right. Well, yeah, with infants, you have to give them pears one day and apples 3 days later.
Don't they have like jars of that stuff?
Did you do this with your daughters, Michelle? I have nothing like this. I just give them ravioli and microwave it.
Do you? I did the list.
I can email this to you. Be gentle with my schedule.
When you talk about absentee, when your husband first said, I want to be president, did you want him to be president?
No. It's like, please don't do this. You know, I didn't want Barack to go into politics because I thought politics was a mean business. And, you know, I knew this man that I loved. He was sweet and pathetic. I thought, there's no way.
Pathetic? Did you say pathetic?
Empathetic. Right, I know.
E-M-P-A-T-H. Empathetic.
We got that'd be another quote on
Sweet
it.
and empathetic.
When did you come around?
You know, for this race, and always for others, it's me taking that selfish hat off, and it's a, you know, reasonable selfishness, because I think of the sacrifice that I have to make, that our girls have to make. And once I step outside of that and I stop thinking like Michelle, Barack's wife, and I start thinking like a mom and a citizen, I start thinking about the kind of leader that I would want.
Well, they treat you as fair game, too, now. I mean, because you're out there, and they're looking at the relationships that you have had as a couple.
I didn't even really think about that to that extent, because that really wasn't the case in local politics. I mean, they really didn't scrutinize families as much as they're doing in this race.
Well,
so I didn't.
You look at everything. I mean, even going forward, will you think about, okay, who are we gonna have dinner with? Who's going to be sitting with us? It's got to affect your decisions.
Does Barack take out the garbage still, or no?
No. He's running for the presidency. Wait, one more thing. Can he come on the show again? I'd like to have him back here.
Absolutely.
So, before we wrap, number one, congratulations to the Celtics.
Yes.
Number two.
I'm from Boston, so.
Okay, groovy.
That's right.
Number two,
22 years.
I'm sure if you're watching television in the next few days, you'll see all of the devastating floods that are happening, and you'll be trying to figure out what you can do. Perhaps you can go through your closets, see what you have that you're not using, whether it's kids' clothes or iPods or hair dryers, whatever you have, and start to make a pile that you can take over, because I suspect that the Red Cross, with the little bit of money they have left, because they're running very low, are not going to have the resources that they need.
That's
so
very good.
that's something that we can all do, and maybe drive at your church or at your school or whatever to help these folks
And you used to
that
be
are going
involved with the
on.
Red
I was on the board of the Mid-America chapter for a few years, so
Cool.
yeah, they need the help.
And don't forget, Miss Joy is on Larry King this evening. We'll be right back with Matthew Broderick.